Hello, I'm Bob.
And I'm Sue.
I'm a nurse.
And I'm a teacher.
And we've been married for over 31 years. Isn't that
32, actually.
32, oh, that long. Well, and one of the reasons is that we've done a lot of home projects together. And while I was away skiing last week in Colorado,
I decided that it was time to redo the bedroom, strip the wallpaper, and paint it.
So when I came home, Sue had a plan. First of all, she tried chemicals.
In a squirt bottle where your hand gets numb after a while.
A lot of hard work. So she got a better idea. What was that?
I decided to rent a wallpaper stripper machine from the hardware store.
A steamer, right?
Steamer. A
steaming machine.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. We're going to try and do some wallpapering using the steamer this time. We've never done it before. We did some of the room before we started making our little movie here just so we could get some helpful tips to give everybody. And how's it been going?
Very well. A lot easier than using the chemicals.
Wow. So I was going to call my friend Chuck to help me, but how often do you get to do scoring and stripping with your wife on a weekend? It's a great way to spend the weekend. So we're going to show you some of the things that we've learned doing this project, and it's actually highly recommended. It seems like much easier than all the other times we've ever stripped wallpaper. You agree?
I agree.
There we go. Okay, let's show you some helpful tips. What are some of the things that you need to do this project? First of all, you absolutely need your lucky sweatshirt or your lucky work shirt because this is a very dirty job. And of course your lovely assistant. You have to have those two things. And you also need to have...
You need to have a waterproof drop cloth so to keep the water off your carpet or your floors as you're doing this project.
And you also need an absorbent drop cloth to put along the edges of your baseboard because some water is going to drip down the walls and you don't want that to get into your carpet. You're going to need some scrapers of various sizes. This one we use for cleaning up the walls afterwards. This type of scraper, a plastic scraper or a less harsh scraper, we used to get any of the wallpaper that was left behind after the scraping. This one I kind of kept in my pocket to flip corners with, and you'll see how we do that during the wallpaper removal process.
And you're also going to need your scorer that we've talked about before to score your wallpaper before you do the steaming. This allows the steam to penetrate the wallpaper and it'll come off a lot easier. So score it, don't press too hard, but do it quite a bit. Small circles that overlap each other.
And we'll show you how to do that during the process. You have to have a few tools. You've got to have a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, and those are for removing electrical wall plates and any other lights that you might have up on your walls. And you should have a little cutter with you too. And I use this, you'll see that I use this to cut into the corners to make the removal a little bit easier. Also, this is very important. You have to have a little baking pan with you because after you get done with your steamer pad, if you're not using it and you need both your hands, you've got to have a place to put it. It will drip. It's going to be a little bit hot. And this is the perfect thing to put on the floor next to where you're working to put your pad on.
The other thing you're going to need for areas that you can't get your steamer pad into, they're literally too small, is you're going to need some product like Diff to get in there and spray it and let it, score it first and spray it and let it permeate through there to be able to get in there. When you get done, you're going to need to be able to take off the glue residue that didn't come off. So what I used was a pan of hot, clear water and vinegar, straight vinegar in a spray bottle. And I would spray it, let it set for a couple minutes. Then I'd use a scouring pad actually I would use one of the scrapers too to get a glue off if there was a lot. Then I would use the scoring pad, rinse it out a couple times, and then use the sponge to get the rest, because you really want to get all that residue off your wall so that you can be ready to paint after that.
Later. And of course you need a steamer. Now you can go out and buy a steamer and they're about $300 or $400 to purchase, or you can rent one from your local hardware store like we did from Burnt Hills Hardware, and we rented the steamer from them for, I think it was 8 hours for $20 or $30. It was very reasonable, and the thing is going to work fantastic. We've already tested it a little bit. It's wonderful. Okay, let's get to work. What do you say?
Okay. So we tried a couple different ways with the steamer, but we found that using a scoring tool, these are called tiger claws or tiger paws or something like that, just a light scoring on the wall lets the steam penetrate the wallpaper and it comes off easier. So let me show you just what light scoring looks like on the wallpaper. You don't have to press hard, you just have to, it rolls around on these little gears. And don't press too hard because you don't want to ruin your wall. It'll put little tiny holes in your wall and the wall board behind it. So just a light score, and it helps you get the steam inside and penetrate, and makes the wallpaper come off in a whole sheet. I gotta clean up here. There we go.
So here's our little steamer now, and you can kind of see the steam coming out of here, and Sue scored this wall for us. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hold our steamer up here. You can see I got a nice long cord here, so it gives me some room. And I'm just going to hold that there for a little bit. I'm going to try and get the corner loose, because sometimes if you can get the corner loose, you can peel it right down. And the other thing I notice, if I go lengthwise like this, lengthwise, I can cover a whole strip all at once. Let's see how successful I was. Ooh, pretty good. Now I'm just going to steam the other side a little bit. And I'll show you how I kind of do this. I try and coordinate it so that I can strip it and pull it down and steam it at the same time to save time. If you've got a 10-foot long wall, 10 foot by 8 foot, you got to give yourself about 2 hours to strip it, depending on how old your wallpaper is and how good your wallpaper is. So let's see how that's working. I'm going to move my steamer down, and I'm going to start stripping. All right, it's working really good. Now you can see when I reach this piece here, it's just kind of like coming down to one piece, because that's the next set of wallpaper. I know this seems like it takes a long time, but trust me, it's much better than using chemicals and other things that we've tried. I don't know, maybe this wallpaper is easier to do, but it sure seems to be working pretty good. You might not be as lucky as we've been with this, but this wallpaper has been on for like 25 years. Actually, our friends Mark and Margaret lived here, and they put this wallpaper up, so I'd like to thank them now for using good wallpaper. All right. So there you go, one strip, and probably 10 more to go, and then of course we got to do the bottom too. But you can get a pretty good idea how easy that works. Not bad. Here I made a mistake. We had tiger scored this area, and some of the wallpaper did not come off. So what I did is I took a metal scraper and I scraped this area, and I took some of the wall board off. All right, that was a mistake. I'm going to show you the best way to do that now. Here's another area here where some of the backing of the wallpaper stayed on the wall. And this is a much better way to do it than using a scraper. I'm going to use a little bit of steam. As I said before, not too much. You don't want to wreck your wall board, just a little bit. I'm going to slip my nail under there a little bit. And I'm going to peel it this way. That way, you don't do any damage to your wall board. I did one corner before, the upper corner here, and it was kind of a pain because it had to go this side, so I'm going to try a little different technique here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score the corner with a little blade I have in my hand here. Now I'm going to try to steam it. Alright, let's see how we're doing here. And that worked pretty good. See, as you can see, you can just peel this backing off here.
So no matter how hard you try, you're still going to leave a little glue behind. So after a couple of different methods I've tried, what I found was just pure white vinegar in a spray bottle and a scraper, and then a sponge that has a rough side to it, a scrubber side to it for the last thing. But what you do is just spray it on. and then let it set for like, oh, I don't know, like a minute, no longer. And then get a pretty big, you can get a putty knife or a big scraper like this, and you can literally pull all the glue off and then gather it in your sponge. So let me just show you. So this is what, and so I can see it all on my scraper here. And then, so then I just take my sponge and wipe off the scraper. Then use the little scrubber side to get what you missed. And again, what we should have said at the beginning was, the best time to do this is during the daytime. So you can see what you're doing, you have enough light. And so I get the rest of it with the scrubby side, and I just wipe the residue off with the sponge side. You might have to do it a couple of times in an area that's got a lot of glue left behind. But you want a smooth surface so you can paint.
Well, there you have it. After about 6 hours of work with our steamer, we have all the wallpaper off our walls. So I hope you guys have as much luck as we do with this project. I hope this movie was a little bit helpful for you. And good luck with your home projects.